Training camp is almost here, and honestly, this Lakers roster is giving us plenty to watch. Not just the new faces and how they'll fit like Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, Jake LaRavia, and the rookie duo, but also the bigger issue, whether this team can actually build chemistry, which is what camp is really for. I'm focused on the younger players who might shock people with breakout potential. Some are barely on the radar, but they could win over JJ Redick in camp, force him to notice, and maybe even earn minutes or at least his trust. That could shift the rotation in ways nobody's talking about. So that's what we're breaking down today. We're not talking about the secure starters or the obvious rotation guys, not even the 6th or 7th man. We're zeroing in on the younger names who might blow up in camp and change the conversation. And well, without dragging this out any further, let's get right into it. Breakout candidate number 1 is two-way contract guard Chris Minon. You might know him, or maybe you've never even heard his name, and if not, that says plenty about how little buzz he's gotten. He signed his two-way deal with the Lakers in late July, making him the newest low-risk pickup. In my view, he actually brings something valuable, though not in the short term. He won't sniff the rotation on opening night. But similar to what Jordan Goodwin did last year, he's the kind of player who could win over JJ Redick with defense, hustle, and sheer effort, stuff this team often lacks. That could sneak him into some garbage time minutes or even injury replacement duty. Minon is a rookie, listed at about 6 feet 5 inches and 210 pounds, with a wingspan that looks promising even if the exact numbers aren't out there. And while he's not a big name, ignoring him might be a mistake if Redick is serious about giving young energy guys a chance. Wingspan measurement, but I think 6'8", his wingspan looks to be around 6 feet 8 inches, which gives him serious defensive reach for a guard. If you don't know his skill set, Chris Minon basically plays like an Energizer bunny who never slows down. In college, he was a defensive menace, averaging 2 steals per game in just 19 minutes. He even added close to a block per game, and in his senior year at Vanderbilt, he hit 1 block per game as a 6 feet 5 inches guard playing only 18 minutes. That's wild production for someone his size. His 5.6% steal rate in college was elite, and his 4% block rate was actually higher than guys like Maxime Reynaud, a 7 feet 1 inch big who lives at the rim. Let that sink in, a two-way rookie guard blocking shots at a higher rate than drafted centers. To me, that's not just insane, it's proof that his defensive numbers were slept on. The fact that the Lakers picked him up while other teams passed says more about front office laziness around the league than it does about Minon's ability. He put up a higher block rate than Reynaud while playing just 19 minutes a night as a 6 feet 5 inches guard. That's flat out crazy. And the big thing is it wasn't just empty college stats. Watch him in summer league and you see it translate against real NBA athletes. Chris Minon proved he can hold his own and still cause chaos on defense. He actually suited up for the Golden State Warriors in Summer League and went directly against the Lakers, even matching up with Dalton Connect and making him look uncomfortable. Minon averaged about 17 minutes, 9 points, over 1 steal, and 1 block per game. Basically 3 stocks in limited minutes. Stretch that to per 36 numbers and you're looking at nearly 6 combined steals and blocks. That's wild production, and it proves his style works against pros. Now imagine him in training camp, where most guys are still finding their legs and learning plays. He could easily stand out while others are just coasting. He posted a higher block rate than Reynaud in only 19 minutes a night as a 6 feet 5 inches guard. That's just crazy. And it's not like those stats were fake either. Summer League showed his game holds up even against NBA-level athletes. Chris Minon clearly proved he can hang on the floor and still cause havoc defensively. He actually played with the Golden State Warriors in Summer League and went straight at the Lakers, even matching up with Dalton Connect and giving him serious problems. In limited minutes, Minon put up about 17 minutes, 9 points, over a steal, and a block per game, basically 3 stocks in those minutes. Stretch that out to per 36 numbers and you're looking at nearly 6 steals plus blocks. That's elite impact, and it shows his defense translates anywhere. Now drop him into a training camp, where most guys are jogging through drills and trying to remember plays. He could absolutely pop while others sleepwalk. Chris Minon can definitely be a problem for opponents and could force JJ Redick to notice him. If he keeps breaking up plays, grabbing steals, and even getting help-side blocks at the rim, Redick won't just ignore that, he'll have to remember it. Like I said with Jordan Goodwin, it might not happen right away. Could take until late this season or even next year, but I wouldn't be shocked if Redick circles back to Minon when the time comes. Maybe it's an injury, maybe someone ahead of him struggles, or maybe a trade clears up space. Either way, if a spot opens, Redick might have no choice but to use him. The real issue, though, and the thing that separates him from Goodwin's path, is three-point shooting. Goodwin came in and at least proved he could knock down shots from deep. Minon, on the other hand, hasn't shown that, and in today's NBA, a guard who can't hit threes risks being glued to the bench no matter how good his defense looks. Jordan Goodwin hit threes with the Lakers last season, especially from the corner, where he was elite. Chris Manon isn't there yet. In college, he was only a 30% three-point shooter, and in summer league he barely improved, shooting just 28.6% from deep in limited action. That's the biggest hole in his game. Still, if training camp is about making noise with energy, hustle, and defense, then he has the tools to stand out, maybe even be the breakout guy among the Lakers' fringe players. He's the type who could force his way into the conversation even if his jumper lags behind. But moving beyond Manon, there's another name worth highlighting. Another grinder who thrives on defense. That's Lakers rookie Adou Thiero, who, much like Manon, earned attention with his intensity. In fact, the Lakers traded up in the draft just to grab him, which shows how much they believe in his upside and toughness right away. Him from his overall defensive ability, athletic ability, and simply how hard he works on the court, too. And much again, like Chris Manon, does have some work to do with his three-point shot, was only a 28% three-point shooter throughout college, though he definitely did more than enough to make up for it on defense. During his third and final year of college, Adou Thiero averaged nearly 2 steals per game in only 5 minutes per game, that translating to a 4% steal percentage. Not to mention having a near 4% block rate to go with it. Absolutely a lead for a wing. Much like Chris Manon had a higher block rate than guys that got drafted and legitimate 7-foot centers that got drafted. Once again, a guy like Maxim Reno. That's very impressive and really tells you about their ability on defense. Not only about their ability on defense and simply how hard they work, but about their versatility on defense. Whether you're talking about matching up one-on-one on defense, taking on the toughest matchup on the court, defending the three-point line, screen navigating, creating plays, and wreaking havoc, even being a help-side rim protector. These two can really do it all on the court on defense, which in my opinion likely will translate to impressing JJ Redick throughout training camp and really being able to stand out throughout training camp. Even with guys like Luka Doncic and LeBron James in the court with them. In my opinion, I think they're really going to turn heads. I'd be willing to bet that we will hear reports about them, like a reporter saying that they're working hard on defense and that JT Reg has been impressed by them. Likely even hearing it from Redick himself after their practices and after their training camps. When Redick talks to reporters, I guarantee we will hear mention of Adou and or Chris Manon in throughout training camp, likely from their defense and simply energy on the court. But then for my third and final breakout, you know how I went back and you could throw out names like Dalton Knecht or Bronny James, but they're not the ones I call breakout picks right now. Knecht already had his breakout last year. This season is about proving it wasn't a fluke. Bronny, meanwhile, still looks at least a year away. Instead, I'm pointing to Jake LaRavia. Yes, I said I wouldn't cover guys locked into the rotation, but while LaRavia feels like a safe piece, his role is still shaky. Training camp could decide if he locks it down by really impressing JJ Redick. The upside is there. LaRavia flashed plenty of promise last year, but the question marks are obvious too. Can he keep up his three-point shooting after finally topping 35% for the first time? Can he stay durable after only reaching 66 games last season but never clearing 35 before that? The Lakers need answers, and if LaRavia can't prove he's consistent, his minutes could vanish fast, no matter how much faith the staff claims to have in him. Sure, it's only been 2 seasons before last year, but if Jake LaRavia keeps growing offensively, stays reliable on defense, and builds on what he showed, he could break out. That's a lot of ifs, though. Still, if he turns those into steady two-way production, he has a real shot. People forget he's only 23, actually younger than Dalton Knecht and barely older than rookie Adou Thiero. So yeah, he's still got time to figure things out. The problem is the Lakers don't have the luxury of waiting forever. They need him to put it together now. Right now, they don't really have another wing like LaRavia. At his best, he fits the modern 3 and D mold, guarding multiple positions while spacing the floor. But if he can't prove he belongs in that role consistently, then his age and potential won't mean much. The Lakers aren't chasing development this year. They're chasing wins, and LaRavia's leash could be shorter than fans realize. The Lakers badly need someone who can hit threes, defend, and even create their own shot. Right now, Jake LaRavia is basically the only guy in their rotation who fits that mold. Sure, you'd hope Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, or even Austin Reeves could step up, but let's be real. I'm not counting on that. The hope is squarely on LaRavia, who at least flashed it last season. Now it's up to him to prove it wasn't a one-off. JJ Redick and the whole team will be watching to see if he can maintain it, starting in training camp. If he puts together solid defense and reliable offense, both at an above-average level, he could rise fast in the rotation. He has a real chance to move from being the 7th, 8th or 9th man to becoming their 6th man to start the season. That's the opportunity on the table for LaRavia, and training camp is where he can show if he deserves it. Or if the Lakers are banking too much on a role player to fill holes their bigger names won't. Whether Jake LaRavia can translate his flashes into something real is still up in the air, but there's at least a path for him to be a breakout. That's just my take, though. I want to hear yours. If you had to pick 1 to 3 players who might actually break out in Lakers training camp, who are you pointing to? And is it because of their offense, defense, or both? Drop your thoughts in the comments. For now, that pretty much wraps this one up. If you liked the breakdown, I'd appreciate it if you hit like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turned on the bell so you don't miss future uploads. And as always, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day or night. But remember, if these so-called breakout guys flop, the Lakers' depth might be a bigger issue than fans want to admit.